MMA Boxing Talk here, coming at you with another video. I just wanted to put out a quick video talking about a recent interview I saw with Hector Lombard of the UFC welterweight division. This is a guy that had a year suspension. He got busted for PEDs in his fight against who was that against? I can't remember. Josh Berkman. That was at the beginning of 2015. Now, that was ruled a no contest. He won it. Wasn't his best performance, even though he was all, juiced up. He won it, but he didn't make it a good fight. He just wasn't his best performance. Now he's fighting in March, which will be a year and 2 months after his last fight, which was a no contest, like I was just saying. He's fighting Neil Magny, a great young fighter. He's a very, very active fighter. Neil Magny has 10 fights in the last 2 years. In 2014, he fought 5 times, and in 2015, he fought 5 times. And he only had 1 loss out of the 10 fights against Damian Maia, a solid Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner, an elite, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner for sure. So Neil Magny, always a known guy for taking fights on short notice. That's another reason why he fights so much. Like I said, 5 times in 2014, 5 times in 2015. That's a lot of fights in 2 years. But he's young. He handles it well. He seems to not take a whole lot of damage. He's such a tall, lanky fighter. He's 6'3" at the 170-pound division. So he's a really tall welterweight. He's got an 80-inch reach. 80 inches. That's huge. Hector Lombard is only a 71-inch reach, and he's only 5'9". Neil Magny 6'3". So I think in this fight, Neil Magny is going to. I'll be predicting him to win it. Probably a unanimous decision or a split decision, but I think he'll win it. Now, Hector Lombard, he's his last impressive performance was against Jake Shields back in 2014. That's coming up to 2 years ago. Hector Lombard is 38 years old now. This will be his first fight coming off the juice, and he's so old. His last performance wasn't even that impressive against Josh Berkman, who in my opinion is not as good as Neil Magny. So I think it's going to be a tough fight for Hector Lombard. You look at Vitor when he came back, and Hector Lombard's no Vitor, but when Vitor came back off the PEDs, he was not the same. It's just, you're a shell of what you once were. So that's what I think Hector Lombard's going to end up being in this fight. Neil Magny's going to take that win. Now, I want to talk about that interview I saw with Hector Lombard. Just happened this week. Now, Hector Lombard was talking about how he was supposed to have a fight with Rory MacDonald last year, but that fight got scrapped because Rory MacDonald ended up getting the title shot against Robbie Lawler, which he lost, but that was the fight of the year. Great fight. I just want to read a couple quotes what Hector Lombard said. Here, this is what he says. I want to fight him. Talking about Rory MacDonald. I think the UFC wanted to make that fight happen. He's the one that doesn't want it. Doesn't want the fight. Lombard said that Rory MacDonald he's the one that doesn't want this fight, which I totally disagree, because he fought the champion Robbie Lawler and had a great close fight. He was a much better fighter than Hector Lombard, who's well past his prime, 38 years old. So he goes on to say that he believes that the Canadian welterweight Rory MacDonald is picking and choosing his opponents, which is absolutely ridiculous. he pulls out, or the fight gets scrapped for the Hector Lombard fight. He's ranked 6th in the division to fight the champion. I mean, how is that considered? Picking your opponents, picking and choosing your opponents. That's bullshit. But anyway, he also says he's just taking the best options to get back on track. He knows I'm a bad matchup for him. I wouldn't call it scared. I'd call it smart. So, I mean, this guy's just, I think he's full of himself. At this point of his career, he's 38 years old. He didn't have a chance against Rory MacDonald, who's, a young, primed fighter, 26 years old. He's 6'2". He's going to be towering over Hector Lombard. Hector Lombard, coming off the PDs, it's usually not an impressive thing to see when a fighter comes off PDs. He never fights the same way. It's just the way it is. But Hector Lombard, he also went on to say he thinks Rory MacDonald is a good fighter. He gained a lot of experience lately, and he's in the top 10. But I'm a better fighter, and I'm going to prove it. Now, I kind of laugh at that. Of course, he's in the top 10. He's ranked number 2. He's definitely a top 4 guy in that division, for argument's sake. Hector Lombard, to say he's a better fighter. I mean, obviously you have to have belief in yourself, but that's just ridiculous. Hector Lombard, definitely full of himself. I mean, to make statements like that after being banned a year for PD use. Not a big fan of this guy. Like I said, I think Neil Magny is going to beat Hector Lombard, and it's not because I don't like Hector Lombard. I just think he will be outmatched. He's got 10 years. He's 10 years older than Neil Magny, and he's given up 9 inches of reach and a whole lot of height difference. So anyway, I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. Tomorrow I'm going to be putting out a video on the prediction video for Johnny Hendricks and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, which is taking place this Saturday, Super Bowl weekend, February 6th, which will be on Fox. So check that out, and stay tuned for the prediction video for that. That's Johnny Hendricks taking on Stephen Thompson. If you like the video, subscribe. That's it for this one. MMA Boxing Talk. Peace.